You enjoy podcasts. We know because you're listening to one. Hi, I'm Jason Falls, the executive producer of the Marketing Podcast Network. We love podcasts too, so much so that in addition to providing you with the great episode you're listening to, we also help businesses, brands, and even individuals produce their podcasts. MPN Studios offers podcast consulting and production services to help you get you or your business its very own podcast. We've helped dozens of smart people, advertising agencies, and brands develop podcasts. All you do is record your content or interview. We take that and deliver a professionally produced audio or video episode complete with show notes, transcriptions, and even promotional clips to use on social media. And our monthly subscription prices are hard to beat. If you or your company are jonesing to have your own podcast to establish thought leadership, drive business leads, or just have fun talking about your business or topic of choice, we'd love to help. Learn more at marketingpodcasts.net/studio. That's marketingpodcasts.net/studio.
Hey, have you heard about Podcast On? This is a global podcast charity event where hosts dedicate one episode to a nonprofit they care about and release it together the same week. No fundraising, no fees, just powerful storytelling for good. Podcast On 2026 runs March 14th to March 20th. Join thousands of podcasters worldwide and use your voice for impact. It's free, it's simple, and it starts at podcasthon.org.
The Marketing Podcast Network is a proud partner of Podcast On.
Welcome to Your Radiant Spirit, the podcast where art, energy, and inspiration come alive. Hosted by award-winning intuitive painter Heather Eck, synesthetic artist, chakra expert, and spiritual guide, this show invites you to explore the transformative power of color, creativity, and spiritual healing. Heather's unique gift of seeing color through energy fuels her stunning spirit portraits and chakra-aligned artworks, designed to bring healing and alignment to your life. Whether you're curious about the magic of chakras, looking to unlock your creative potential, or eager to connect with your radiant spirit, you're in the right place. Your radiant spirit is calling. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to Your Radiant Spirit. I'm so excited to introduce to you today our guest, Krysta Harcus. She's a certified functional nutritionist who helps adults clear eczema and psoriasis using food as medicine and highlighting the mind-body connection. She's the founder of Ditch Itchy Skin Method, developed through overcoming her own struggle with eczema, and now she's on a mission to help others create life-changing results too. After years of trial and error and becoming her own health advocate, she finally found relief. And she's now been eczema-free for 5 years, and she's made it her mission to help others experience that same freedom. Krysta is on a mission to shift the narrative around chronic skin conditions by reconnecting people with the healing power of nature and their own innate ability to thrive. Her work is not just about clearing skin, it's about helping people get their lives back. So I think that's incredible, and I'm so happy to meet you. Psoriasis is close to my heart. My mom and my uncle both have psoriasis, so I've watched her go through a lot of different treatment options, and so I'm so excited to hear from you how you were able to essentially heal yourself, and now you've made a business out of it, which is really cool. So welcome to the show. I'm so glad to meet you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Tell us about your journey. Like, how did you end up discovering the method that was going to help you heal? And then what led you to say, you know what, I've got to make this something that I bring to other people?
Yeah, for sure. I actually was probably about 19 years old when eczema started in my ear, of all places. I went to the doctor saying that my ear's super itchy and what's going on. She said, "Oh, you have eczema. Here's this cream." First of all, like, they never really say anything, just here's this cream. And second of all, it was in my ear. I didn't really want to put goop in my ear.
Especially not at 19.
Yeah, I dove into Google and tried to find some more natural solutions. And of course, back then it was still all a lot of topical stuff, colloidal oatmeal or bleach baths or aloe vera. And I've always taken a more natural approach to my health. So I just, for the first little while, I really just wrote it out. I'm like, we'll see how this goes. Of course, it spread to my face and scalp. So it was just how I presented to the world. And to me, it was super embarrassing. I couldn't cover it up. There was no clothing. A lot of people just wear long sleeves and pants and whatnot, but even makeup would just make it look even worse because it's all cracked and irritated. So I did struggle with it for a while, 10 years. And tried coming across things here and there. Maybe it's your diet. And there wasn't really much stuff on Google back then. But luckily, in November 2018, my dad came across a documentary on the microbiome. And that's really what started it for me, because him and I, we both always took a different approach to what we eat. Like, we know there's some nasty stuff in what we eat, but there was never really a specific diet or anything that worked for us that made sense. I always said that I was paleo, and that some of that made sense, but the microbiome really put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And I discovered that was how I could get rid of my eczema. So unfortunately, March 2019, just a few short months later, my dad passed away. And I really struggled for about a year in kind of a dark place. And my friends noticed, and they're like, we've signed you up for this 3-day retreat type of thing to try and overcome those dark spots.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because if you believe in all these synchronicities and whatnot, my dad's name was Keith Robert Harcus. And this event, I show up, we get settled in, and we pick our coach. There was probably about 8 to 10 coaches. They just stood on a chair and we gathered around, grouped ourselves off in about 5 or 6 people. The person that I ended up picking, his name was Keith Roberts. He had a daughter named Krysta.
No way.
And that was really the beginning of my spiritual journey, was just how the synchronicities of everything matched up. And yeah, it got me out of that hole. It got me down towards this path more of helping others, because my dad was always like, share your knowledge with people. This is what people need to know about. Now I help people to honor him and serve others as well.
Oh, I love that. I love stories of synchronicity like that, because it's one of those things that like you couldn't make up. I just love when things like that come together. And so that led you down a path of your own spiritual journey. And then you decided to create the Ditch Itchy Skin method. Tell us about how that came to be. What was your process going from there?
Yeah, so there's been a few iterations of it, really. You're always updating and learning more as I help others. My dad came up with the name Gut Better before he passed. And so I've used that for a little while, and I still have it in some of my programs. But as it evolved, it got bigger, and I'm like, okay, it needs a little more than just gut. So that's why it was Ditch Itchy Skin. But yeah, it's gathering all of that stuff, how the microbiome helps us and what we're putting on our skin and our thoughts and the healing power of nature and all the frequencies that are around us.
Yeah. Tell us more about the microbiome. How does that come into play, and what exactly is it? If you can give us like the tall and skinny.
Yeah, it really, we couldn't live without it. It does so much for us. It's creating vitamins and all the neurotransmitters. Like, we have more neurotransmitters in our gut than we do in our brain. It's helping just to process everything and give us vitamins and everything that we need. It really creates a lot of different things. And so when that's off balance, it's going to throw our whole body off, really. So leaky gut is the main thing that everybody talks about. You've gluten and prescriptions and bad diet and all that sort of stuff can lead to leaky gut. And when that happens, all these weird particles, all these foreign particles are getting straight into your bloodstream. So when you go to doctors and you have all these random symptoms, they can't piece it together because it's all over your body. The inflammation can really just land anywhere.
Yeah.
And when in our current medical system, a lot of things are very one area focused. You have a cardiologist, you have a dermatologist, you have all these separate components, but they're not looking at the body as a whole.
And so is that part of your program, is to look at everything from a big picture perspective, but focused on the microbiome? Tell us about how you work with people and how you help them to heal in that area.
Yeah, so I always say we're all unique. There's going to be different causes, there's going to be different solutions. So it's very fun working with different people because it's always unique, it's always a journey. And yeah, you get to learn about all different styles and what works for different people. Yeah, it's very much a process and just a trial and error. And that's why I think a lot of people struggle on their own, because you get to this point where it's okay, I've tried this, it doesn't work. Maybe they didn't stick with it long enough. Maybe they didn't have the right information. There's certain paths, certain steps that you or process that you have to go through. And if you get it out of whack, like a lot of people are saying, oh, I tried probiotics and it helped. Another person will be like, probiotics didn't help me. A lot of the times it's a certain process of clearing out the inflammation, adding in the good things, and then focusing on all the other areas like what you're putting on your skin and the products you're using. A lot that I'm coming across these days is I struggled with my own eczema, and yeah, food helped for sure. But after going to that 3-day retreat and going down more spiritual path and healing path, it was really came down to it after I'd cleared all of my skin condition. It was like, looking back, it was a lot of worthiness and stuff like that. It's connected to so many different things, and helping people, I think, is more than just a skin condition. It's going to affect your relationships, your job, everything. So I dig deeper into those emotional things and any kind of events that happened in your life that led you to feeling unworthiness or shame or any of those things.
Got it. Okay, so it's really more than just the microbiome. You're really looking at somebody's spiritual experience in addition to their physical experience and finding the place where the two of them can be in harmony.
Yeah, it's fascinating how everything is connected. I
Yeah,
keep saying it over, and it really is everything.
that's
Yeah.
so true. I just spoke to somebody, you'll hear her on an episode of the podcast, who she focuses on nutrition, but she also looks at the same sort of thing. Like, what are the things that have happened in your life that you're still holding on to that sort of stay in your energy field and cause these issues? So it's similar. You said you dug in a bit and saw that the skin is really about worthiness, right? Like that's our biggest organ. So if we're not comfortable in our own skin, that might cause inflammation in the body or might cause stress in the body that can contribute towards other illnesses. And I'll use the term like dis-ease, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really powerful. What are some things that you see people doing that are that they think are good approaches to healing, trying to heal their eczema or their psoriasis, but are maybe not the right approach to things? What would you tell them?
Yeah. I mean, conventional medicine these days, they really have us believing that there's no cure, that food doesn't help, and it's just all about prescriptions. Take this cream, take this pill, take this injection. But all that's going to do is throw your body out of balance even more, because it's suppressing one system and something else is just going to flare up. So I think a lot of the creams and whatnot, doctors never tell you, hey, you could get topical steroid withdrawal. And if you go to them and say, I have this, they're like, no, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Again, it's just dismissing what we're
Mm.
experiencing. And yeah, so I think a lot of the mistakes are in the prescription realm, but then we trying to, like I did, trying to Google all the information and come up with little random bits of information here and there and piece them all together. Not only is that going to be confusing as heck, but it's also going to leave you with gaps in the information that you're getting.
Yeah.
Those
And
are
it sounds
definitely
like,
some big issues.
yeah, for sure. And it sounds like things didn't really change for you until you took control over your own health. And so what was the first step that you took to retake the reins and say, I'm gonna work on fixing this?
Yeah, like I said, I always focus on more natural approach for myself, but back then there wasn't a lot of information. So it was really just stumbling across that microbiome documentary. But then from there, like really digging into, okay, what does our medical system tell us? Is that helping? If you're trying all these creams and prescriptions and they're not helping, it's not your fault. It's not something that you're doing wrong. It's a matter of finding what works for you.
Mhm.
And yeah, just discovering your own path, whether that's through someone else or someone like myself.
Yeah, so tell us what it's like to work with you. What's your approach to working with clients?
Yeah, I have an online course that breaks down the typical information, foods to avoid, and different scenarios like SIBO and parasites and all those sort of things that can contribute. But I for sure recognize that we're all unique, that there's no one size fits all approach. Even though it's an online course, I like to make it more of a group coaching, high touch support type of system. So I'm in there answering questions, doing Q&A calls, and supporting you along the way because, yeah, there's really working with certain people, it's you tend to get stuck.
Yeah.
And when you get in that spot, if you're doing it on your own, then a lot of people just give up. So I like to provide the support that keeps you going because
Yeah.
I really want to see people get clear skin and succeed and live the life that they dream of just as much as everybody else does.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see that. Has there been anyone in your experience whose story has just been really transformational that you watched them go from suffering to, like you, finding freedom from eczema?
Yeah. So a recent client I worked with, she had dyshydrotic eczema. So it's just on her hands. And she's a teacher. And you're constantly washing your hands and interacting with the kids and parents and in the spotlight all the time. And it can be a stressful situation working in that space and trying to get through all that. And a lot of people really believe that, and she did as well, that food's not going to help. That was it really something that I can even do? I have a family and all this sort of stuff. Am I going to have to change completely what we all eat? And is that even possible? So a lot of it was that mental space that yes, it is possible. Keep going and then just tweaking the diet as we go along.
Okay. So is it the kind of thing where you start with a, what's it called? Like an elimination diet where you look at what are the traditional foods that are inflammatory to the gut biome and then you just to start to like chip away at those sort of things, or how do you know where to begin?
Yeah, I mean, there's the main four that I always say: gluten, dairy, sugar, and processed foods.
Ah,
And if it's bad, if people are going through topical steroid withdrawal, then I do recommend an elimination diet. If it's not as bad, but you've had it for a few years or it's not spread everywhere, then a lot of the times it's just getting rid of those four and tweaking from there. So yeah, it is a process of kind of being a
elimination.
detective and figuring out what things
Mhm.
work for you because so many people like I always recommend coconut because it's so beneficial, but I've had someone that couldn't do coconut. They were allergic to it. So it's figuring out those unique things that are going to be triggers for you, but not necessarily for everyone else. But yeah, I tend to not necessarily avoid, but I tend to not always recommend an elimination diet because that can be intimidating for a lot of people
Yeah.
and it's not always necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, if there's somebody out there listening who's like overwhelmed by the idea of cutting all four of those out at one time, what's like a small step they can take today to try to find relief?
I always say look at one meal.
Ah,
Like if it's your breakfast, lunch, or dinner, changing one meal to start is more easy. It's not as scary and, oh, I have to overhaul everything overnight type of thing.
yeah.
If you're having a bagel or a muffin or something for breakfast, switch that to something like a smoothie where you're getting fruits and different proteins and maybe some coconut yogurt or something in there. So
Hmm.
getting more of a nutritious start is always the best thing. And then if it's your dinner that you're always pasta, and for me it was pasta and Mr. Noodles and pierogies and
All the good comfort foods.
oh yeah.
Yeah. See, I want to go back to what you mentioned at the beginning about everything being connected, like the gut health, our nervous system, and just our general like emotional well-being. How do you think those things all work together to impact our skin? And do your programs address each of those? Or is it mostly food as medicine? Do you work on all of the above?
Yeah, I like to address each situation because it's it is all connected. The gut health, the nervous system, the thoughts, the products that we're using. I do like to really rely on nature for those sort of things. So not only is nature where we're going to find our food, whether it's the plants that are growing or the animals that we eat or whatever it may be, but then also just getting out and getting in nature, being around different microbiomes. So, when you're walking through a forest or you're on the beach or something like that, you're actually getting different microbiomes by breathing in that air. And then the sun, another thing that we're told is horrible for us is the sun, but it's really going to help you heal. Obviously, you don't want to spend all day and get burnt to a crisp.
Right.
But there's certain things in the sun that's going to help you heal as well. So really getting out and experiencing nature and its healing abilities.
Yeah, I love that. You're like the third or fourth person this week who've talked about the healing energy of nature and being outside and learning from the seasons and how healing that is. So I feel like there's a big message coming through for listeners here, and me included, that nature is really one of our most healing spaces, and being outside offers us a lot in the way of healing. And so that's really beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, it really is. I think that's actually a big contributor to why a lot of the times in this day and age we're so stressed, we have all these chronic diseases, is we've been so disconnected from nature. Our lives are go to work, live in a house, concrete jungles, and we're just so disconnected from that. Just taking your shoes off and standing on the earth has incredible healing benefits. Look at all the science and research and everything done on it. And we spend all our lives in school or house or jobs these days.
Yeah, that's so true. I think about that too, even this week for me. I haven't really spent any time outside, and it's mostly because here in North Carolina, our pollen is out of control and everything is coated in this thick layer of yellow. And then by the time the pollen goes away, then it's usually too hot to be outside. But it's a really nice day today, so I'll have to try to get back out there and get some fresh air. Sure. You've got a quiz on your website. Tell us about what your quiz helps people learn about themselves.
Yeah, so my quiz is to discover your number one obstacle to clearing eczema and psoriasis. There's different results based on obviously what you input, and each of those results has a breakdown of information, but then also next steps and personalized solution based on your results. Yeah, I think it's fun. I've made the questions so they're not like all scientific and boring. You really wouldn't know that you're answering something that could be so beneficial. So yeah, it's fun. That's great. Quiz.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I'll put that in the show notes too. And then how can people work with you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, my website is probably the easiest, KrystaHarcus.com. I'm also on YouTube, Krysta Harcus, and Instagram at Krysta Harcus.
Awesome. That's great. And I'd love to, if you can share the name of that documentary you watched too, I'd love to put that in the notes too. I'm sure people are curious about where your journey started and what got you there. And then I'll put all of your websites and information in there as well. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll see if I can dig up the documentary. I don't know if it's still out there.
It may not be out there anymore. Yeah, I totally get it. It served its purpose. And God bless your dad for sharing that with you and helping to inspire your journey. That's really wonderful.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm really excited to have connected with you, and I'm excited to see where this journey takes you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Heather.
Thank you for joining us on Your Radiant Spirit. If today's episode lit up your creativity or helped you connect with your inner energy, please leave us a review and share your thoughts. Your feedback helps us spread more light to others. To dive deeper, visit www.heathereck.com for courses, workshops, and custom spirit portraits. And for daily inspiration and behind-the-scenes magic, follow Heather on Instagram at @HeatherEckArtist. Your radiant spirit is calling. Take the next step on your journey. See you next time.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.